Okay, for the last 4 games, Georgia and Georgia Tech, well, it's been more than that actually. It's been since 2017 that Tech Georgia has had this low of a line for clean old-fashioned hate. That year, in 2017, when Georgia played the Jackets on the way to an SEC championship, then eventually playing in the national championship, a Rose Bowl victory over Oklahoma, Georgia was an 11-point favorite to beat Georgia Tech. That game was down in Atlanta at Bobby Dodd, Mark Richt Field. But since that time, the most competitive line has really been like 17, something like that. This year, Georgia's a 12.5-point favorite to beat Tech in Atlanta. I don't know if people are considering this a Tech home game. It is technically, a Tech home game. It will clearly not be a Tech home game. There will be this could be as lopsided as it is in Athens. And we'll see if Tech is interested in continuing this over time. But a 12.5-point game is a substantial number. I think last year's game is going to be one thing that people pay attention to coming out of this game. Our friends at So Poly Outdoor Furniture got a great Black Friday deal for you. It's live right now. You can get 20% off. This is a limited time offer. You get 20% off and free shipping using the code DEAN10. Use that now. You can customize your outdoor, whether it's at the beach, the lake, your back door in suburban Atlanta, or in rural Georgia. I mean, whatever you want, they can customize it for you. If you do it right now, you can get it before Christmas. So I would go ahead and do that. They also have very fast shipping. Use the code DEAN10 to get 20% off and free shipping. Take advantage of this today now. It's going to go away. 12.5 points is substantial. It's a substantial line. 7 points is substantial. The way Tech is playing right now, I would take Georgia in this thing. Georgia's not covered against Tech the last 3 times they've played. Those lines have been massive, though. I got to say, a couple of those were 30-point line. One of those was a 30-point line. Another one was over 20. Last year was 17.5. They certainly didn't cover that one. They nearly lost. They certainly could have lost. But Dirty Dan Jackson and his targeting. So there's a lot of, rage and, I don't mean this, but piss and vinegar at Tech about last year still. And I understand that. Losing a game that you could have, should have won is a frustrating part of sports. But right now, Tech's going to have to play their best game probably the last 2 years at this point to beat Georgia. It's a short week. That probably does not benefit Georgia Tech on a couple of levels. Number one, Georgia was done at 3 o'clock. No, that's not right. Georgia was done at 3:30. It was a 171-minute game Georgia played. They played the shortest game of Kirby Smart's tenure. It was the shortest game Georgia's played since 2010. Like, on record, it could be shorter than that. I just don't have records before that. So that's a substantial. By the way, there are police out everywhere. So everybody, let's take it down a couple levels on the speedometer. I'm going to go past 2 people being pulled over here. That is crazy. But I don't know if you'll see it. There's one. We got another guy back here. So it's a holiday week. Here, let's see this. No, you did. It's a holiday week. It's just like everybody get to where they gotta go. But this, Georgia's not covered this line in a while. And back to the 171-minute game. That's a fast game. That means it's under 3 hours. It's under 3 hours by 9 minutes for those of you who did not go to Georgia Tech. So that's really, good. And you got in, you got out. Kirby's press conference was not even 10 minutes. It's typically 20. Nobody wanted to be there. They wanted to get in, get out. So Georgia's tucked into bed by the time Tech even kicks off. Tech gets done about 11-ish, 11:30. There's some stuff to do. So they got that little bit of time before the Tech game. The other problem, and this is really more so a problem, I would say, because it's curious with Kirby, because he would complain if they were the ones playing at night, but that they're playing at day. He said, well, they're playing on the same day, but whatever. That cracks me up. But I will say, with the beating that Haynes King took, it would be nice to have that extra day to play. Because right now, everything is condensed, right? I mean, you've got everything. Today is basically Monday, although it's Sunday. And everything is condensed. And it just... because of the way that Tech uses King, I think that hurts them right there. Now, they've got a very good backup quarterback, but he'd be starting if he were the starter. So I wouldn't get too hyped up on that part either. This is going to be a tough game for Tech to win, okay? It's going to be a tough game for Tech to win. But I think if you're Georgia, do you have all of the bullets in your chamber? I mean, is Chauncey Bowens going to play? What about, I don't anticipate C.J. Allen playing, but what about Drew Bobo? What about Ernest Green? What about, guys who were not going to play against Charlotte? Were they going to play against, are they going to play against Tech? I mean, I don't know. It could be a situation where they get dressed out and they don't do anything else. So, now the one concern I would say right now, what Georgia Tech can do very well is score. And they have the number one offense in the country in terms of yardage. They're really bad on defense. They're really bad against run defense, and it's going to be hard for them to score if they don't have the ball. So you could certainly see a clock running fiesta on Friday afternoon. But one thing that Tech can do is they can rack up yards. What Georgia does not have this year that they did last, and it was a game changer for them last year against Tech at moments, they do not have a pass rusher like Jalen Walker or Chaz Chambliss. They have been rushing the passer better, for sure. But they do not have that pass rush. They need to know that they're going to get into a very physical game against a team in Tech that wants to run the ball. Both these teams are going to want to run the ball. I think on the whole, Georgia is a pretty good run defense. They're not elite like they were with Jordan and with Jalen Jordan, etc. But they are pretty good against the run. They're going to get run on against Tech because that's just what Tech does. The question is, can you get off on third downs? Can you do what you did with Texas? Can you play that way? Can you get off the field on third down? When Tech is backed up, can you get off the field when it's second and long? Because there's been far too many times this season that Georgia's been in second and pretty long, or first and pretty long, and the other team converts. So that's not good. But I think for me, Tech is just not playing well right now. And it's been a while, to be honest with you. I mean, you think about the Duke game, didn't play well. Wake game, didn't play well. NC State lost, didn't play well. Boston College didn't play well. Pitt didn't play well. It's a lot of didn't play wells lately. I think they played well against Virginia Tech. That's probably, and I don't know their whole schedule, it escapes me sometimes, but I think I've said a lot of it, and, just haven't played great, at times. And Clemson, they beat Clemson. Clemson's not good. They're just not a good team. They're a 6-5 team. I don't know if they'll beat South Carolina. That's a really good question, actually. I think it's a coin flip game, as bad as Carolina is. But Carolina can really play well for stretches of moments. You can't say that about Clemson. They just don't do that. So this Georgia team has got an opportunity to nail down the playoff spot, although I think that's nailed down at minimum. I would say with a win, you are not going to be worse than the 5 seed. So people say, well, why do you keep talking about the 5 seed? We don't know what the Big 12 championship is going to look like. I don't think Texas Tech is better than Georgia. They've got a loss, just like Georgia. Their loss is a bad loss to Arizona State. Well, pretty bad loss to Arizona State. It's not the same as what Georgia's got. I don't know who Texas Tech's best win is. I guess it's Utah, who barely won last night against Kansas State. I don't know how Kansas State lost that game, but they did. So that's that's Texas Tech's best win. Maybe the BYU. So they got a couple. So I could completely see them, if they'll have to beat BYU again, I could completely see the playoff committee saying, well, Georgia didn't play in the SEC championship. Texas Tech won their league. We value championships, although not like you used to. This, that, and the other, we're sticking them in there. They're the 4. Georgia has to play a home game. I mean, and I don't think it's the end of the world either. Particularly if you keep if you're playing well. Now, if you play in the SEC. There's just so many variables right now. It used to be you just had this is this, and that's it. Not anymore. I mean, there's so many things that kind of are showing up, but it doesn't, really matter to me what happens here. I think another game in Athens would be fine. I don't think they would have virtually no real notion of losing that game. It would not be against a good team. It would be against either the American champion, possibly the ACC champion, but it'd be the American champion, the ACC champion, or James Madison. And those teams just are not in the category of the other playoff teams. So you've got that, but it may be that they don't punish Georgia for not playing. But that all comes down to the discussion of happening only if you beat Tech. So I think they will. I really don't think there's a lot to talk about on that front, frankly. I just think you got to expect Georgia Tech's best game. And if you expect that, because that's, I think, what you'll get, although I'm less convinced as I have been in the past, I would imagine that, if you expect that, if you play like that, they'll handle the Jackets and they'll move on. I think 12.5 is a healthy number. Right now, I'm disposed to grabbing Georgia there. It's going to be a virtual home game for them. It'll just have Georgia Tech's logos on the field. It's not the same as at Bobby Dodd, and I know they'll do stuff at the Dome to make it. It might be more of a home field advantage than at Bobby Dodd because of sort of what you can do with PA. But I don't know. I mean, when 80% of the crowd is going to be the other team, it's hard to say that's a home game. But we don't know yet. I'll be very curious to see what is this like. I do think this game belongs outdoors, but I don't think we're going to see the Dome open. So it will be it'll be weird. I'll put it to you like that. But a lot of college football has been weird lately. Georgia, a 12.5 point favorite over the Jackets. Thanks for watching.